us to get through this like everybody. And I want to thank everyone for taking their time to be involved this evening. A few things. What we'll do is we're going to take a roll call for the council first. And then as we go through the agenda, when someone makes a motion in the council, with the council, I would request that you state your name for the record. And then I will go down the roll with the council on their votes of yay or nay for the particular item being voted on.
A participant has left the meeting.
Okay, we lost a participant. Anybody know who that was?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Sue, we can.
Yeah, I just switched to my phone from my phone.
Virginia Powell has joined the meeting.
Okay. Hey, Virginia. All right.
Hey, guys.
Virginia, I've called that's okay. I've called the meeting to order. What we're going to do is going to take a roll call, and then I do ask that if you do make a motion, state your name during this meeting for the motion, whether it be first or second. Then I go through the roll call and ask each one of you how you vote on the particular agenda item.
Okay.
Okay. All righty. Sue Sweeting, are you present?
Sue Sweeting is here.
Doug Matheson.
Here.
David Harwood.
Here.
Albert Yance.
Here.
Virginia Powell.
Here.
Okay. Taking this further, Alan Mosley.
Here.
Hillary Hubner.
Here.
Nicole Norman.
Here.
Kent Graham.
I'm here.
Okay. Aaron Miller.
I'm here.
Jennifer Brown.
Here.
Matt Blackburn.
I'm here.
Hey, Tracy Brown.
I'm here, Charlie, but just barely.
Okay, that's expected, Mr. Brown. That's expected. Charles, John Morton.
Give me a second. Yes, it's.
Do we have John Warden on?
I do not think so.
Okay, Charles Harden.
Hey, Charlie, I'm here.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, Charles Harden's on. Just to give you all a heads up, we do have the news media involved. They're able to listen in, but they cannot speak. David Rogers with BlowingRockNews.com and Abby Witt with the Mountain Times and the Blowing Rocket. Moving right along, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
This is Sue Sweeting, I approve.
Do we have a second? Okay, so Sue made the initial and Doug seconded. Okay, Sue Sweeting, you approve?
Yes, Sue Sweeting.
Doug Matheson.
Yes.
David Harwood.
Yes.
Albert Yance. Was that yes, Albert?
That's British for yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Virginia Powell. Virginia Powell.
Let me see if she's still on. Yeah, looks like she's still on.
I wonder if she muted.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here. I approve.
Okay. Okay. That was for the agenda. Okay, I'm going to clump these two together. The March 10th, 2020 regular meeting minutes, March 10th, 2020 closed session minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
Doug Matheson, motion to approve.
Second, Sue Sweeting.
Albert, second.
Okay, so Doug made my initial motion, Sue Sweeting seconded. And how do you vote? Sue Sweeting?
Mayor, I have a correction to the regular minutes.
Okay, we have a correction from Mr. Harwood.
I've already, in the interest of time, I've already relayed that correction to Hillary, but I can quote it if necessary.
Okay, that should be fine.
Thank you.
David, you probably ought to read it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the regular minutes, under the Winkler proposal, there is a sentence that says, Council Member Harwood advised he did have a few communications, either written or verbal, and the sentence should read, Council Member Harwood advised he did not have communications, either written or verbal.
Okay, Hillary, did you understand that?
Yes, sir, and I've made the change.
Okay, very good. Are there any other changes that the council wishes to make to the regular meeting minutes or the closed session minutes? Okay, we'll go back to the roll call once more. Sue Sweeting.
Yes, approve with the changes.
Okay, Doug Matheson.
Yes.
David Harwood.
Approved as amended.
Albert Yance.
Approved as amended.
Virginia Powell.
Approved as amended.
Okay. Moving forward, we're now at the public comments. Shane did not receive any public comments via email or regular mail. So we are going to move forward to the business matters. The item on the business matters will be the remote meeting policy. Shane, would you like to go over this?
Yes, Mayor, absolutely. In interest of making sure that we put together a policy that would allow us to do what we're doing tonight and more than likely in future meetings, we utilized a number of resources across the state, including the School of Government. We borrowed some language from others that have been recently performing electronic meetings, ran this potential policy through our legal counsel. Mr. Mosley has seen this and approved of it. And hopefully each one of you have had a chance to review the 3-page policy. Essentially, it allows us to meet as we are now, gives us a little bit of leeway so we can meet using several different mechanisms. This time, obviously tonight, we're using audio only. Obviously, it gives us the ability to meet and use video and whatnot. A couple points I think to make. One, it allows our boards, if they choose to meet electronically. So whether that's the planning board or BRAC or others, and it allows that to take place as we move forward. And I can answer any questions. It's a fairly standard one that's been passed around the state. Like I said, it's not anything that I can take credit for. This has been passed around and edited by a number of local governments and put into action already. And this is being used. It does allow, from a North Carolina open meetings law, it does it suffice under General Statutes Chapter 143. And like I said, the School of Government and others have weighed in on this and approved. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
I have a question. This is Virginia Powell. This is just for the purpose of while we're in the COVID-19 situation. Is that correct?
Correct. This policy, becomes effective upon the declaration of a state of emergency. So it's not just for COVID-19; it's for any time in the future. We did not put the COVID-19 language necessarily in there. It's at the beginning of it on the purpose, but at the very last, the effective period is upon the declaration of a state of emergency. So it does allow us going forward, if we were to need to do something similar to this, it would allow us to do so.
I think what I'm trying to avoid is in the future having electronic meetings all the time. I think it's healthier if we can get face-to-face as much as possible, unless it's a situation like this. That's what I'm asking. If there's an end date with the that it ends after the state of emergency is over.
Virginia, this excuse me, Shane, but my understanding, Virginia, this will end when the governor lifts his meetings restrictions. Okay, that's what I'm told. Am I correct, Shane?
Yes and no. So the purpose of the policy obviously states the COVID-19 as being the reason that we're putting this policy together. The language at the very end of page 3, just references the state of emergency that we're in, the declaration. So we can clarify that, with an amendment. We can clarify that with no issues at all, if that's the case.
Don't we have to vote to go into this?
Yes, we do, Albert.
Well, why wouldn't that take care of Virginia's concerns? I mean, I've been here 13 years, and this is the first time we've ever done it, so we're on a pretty good roll.
I feel like that.
I mean, this is a policy,
Charlie.
is it not?
It is.
Policy.
It is.
Yes.
Okay. Well, why restrict it? Except
I
by
don't
vote
think
of council.
Yeah, I don't think Virginia's requesting a restriction. I think she just wants to make sure that this has an end date. Am I correct, Virginia?
I think it's healthier for us all to meet together in person as much as possible, instead of virtually. As you know, I don't want this to be the new normal.
I hope it's not going to be.
I mean, I expect the COVID crisis to be over, and then let's go back to normal meetings for all of our Board of Adjustment planning, and the same with the members should be there in person too. So I didn't want this to set some sort of precedent that that in the future that we stop having face-to-face meetings.
I don't see
unless
that.
there's a situation like this.
Well, okay. To answer your question, go ahead, Sue.
Well, reading under numeral 6, the effective period, it says this policy shall become effect upon the declaration of a state of emergency by the mayor and will remain in full force and effect until the expiration of the declared state of emergency. So
okay, that's what I didn't see. That's perfect. Okay. So I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay. Thank you. I've got it open and I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think what that does Virginia is allow us, in case we have another state of emergency, that we don't have, the policy is there. Am I correct, Shane?
That is correct. Yeah, the effective period, this would only take place, or this would only be an option during a declaration of a state of emergency by the mayor. So, for instance, if we were to need to use this again in the future, it would only be if there's a declaration of a state of emergency by the mayor, potentially for weather or something similar. Prior to this,
Excellent. I'm sorry.
No.
I thought I'd read it thoroughly. I missed that little statement at the bottom. Thank you, guys. Thanks for clarifying that.
Okay.
I do have one question. This is David. Under section 5, 1B, special meetings. Currently, a special meeting can be called by the mayor, or I believe it's 2 council members,
Or Mayor Pro Tem.
or mayor pro tem. There's 3 ways. You're correct, Albert. Do we want to include that same language in this?
I don't,
we certainly can.
well, we should, I don't know.
I don't see any downside to it. It just gives us the same latitude that we already
I
have.
don't either. Well, that gives 2 restrictions, so that should do it. Other one, it has to be an emergency call by the mayor to begin with, and then called by the mayor, mayor pro tem, or 2 council members.
That's
And
correct.
that lines it up with the regular events that we have already. We won't hurt
Well,
anyone.
and then if he's incapacitated, it gives another, the other people
Yeah,
can call it.
This is Sue.
Right.
Sweetie, and I think that's a good idea.
it lines
This is
us up with
Charlie.
what we have otherwise.
Yeah, I think that's a must. I mean, if we need to make that, addendum to that meeting policy, I think we should.
I don't,
Yeah,
Doug, I don't
Yes,
think
sir.
you're gonna have to really do a whole lot of amending to it. All you're doing is just saying after a state of emergency has been declared, then we'll follow the rules that's already been set for calling a meeting. And they're already written.
yeah.
Well,
That'll
that's
do
true.
it.
They are. Yes. Yeah.
This
because
is
the
Shane.
Sue feels-
We can make that
Sue feels
change.
like she needs to do what now?
I said, this is Shane. We can make that change. So,
Okay. Yeah. Because, I mean, if Sue or 2 council members feel like they need to call a meeting, I think that's a must.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay. Any other questions on the vote on the regular meeting policy?
Mayor, this
Okay,
is
do
Shane.
we-
Let me just add, for those that may not have heard earlier, the public comment section, I think may be worth pointing out one more time for the record is we did allow two particular ways of providing public comment, one being an email prior to 4:00 today. And we did have that as part of the public notice that was put out Friday. And then number 2, through regular mail. And again, no comments received, but did provide the public 2 avenues to potentially provide public comment. Would have been read tonight, and each council member would have had a chance to respond if so chosen. But that is number 5 as part of the policy.
Okay, good. All right. Do we have a motion to approve the remote meeting policy?
This is David. I'd make a motion to approve the policy with the addition of section 5, 1B, inclusion of special meetings can be called by the mayor pro tem and/or 2 council members.
Second, this is Virginia Powell, as amended, as David has stated.
Okay. All right. Sue Sweeting, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Doug Matheson,
Yes.
David Harwood,
Yes.
Albert Yance,
Yes.
and Virginia Powell.
Yes.
Okay. All right, moving forward. Any official reports and comments? All right, coming from me, Mayor Charlie Sellers. I don't have, I just want to thank everyone, all of our department heads, council, everyone has gone above and beyond. It's a tough time, and I think our community is really pulled together, and I'm very impressed, and I want to thank everybody. That being said, Ms. Sweeting, do you have any reports or comments?
Sue Sweeting, I have been concerned with the businesses that are suffering in our town, and I wanted the council to maybe think about whether we should have a celebration when this is lifted that would bring people back into our town.
Okay, Sue, I think that's a good idea. I think that's a great idea. I don't know when the governor is going to lift or relax the restraints on group gatherings, and that'll be, of course,
Yeah,
what
this
will
Sue
drive
Sweeting again, we
things.
could maybe maybe share some thoughts and share see if Chamber wants to get involved to help the businesses. But it's a thought, and I can get up with Charles Harden and see if he thinks it's worth maybe getting at least working on it now. That's all I had. That's all.
Doug Matheson.
I just want to make a couple of comments, and one of it being, this is one of the first times that, I've felt in such a funk here since this has all started, because I've raised here in Boyne Rock. I've never known a time like this. I mean, even back in the 60s when we used to roll the sidewalks up in October, we still had socializing. We still had Sunnies. We still had Stories Soda Shop. We had weddings. We had funerals. It's just been so different to go downtown now and see what's going on. But I have really been proud of this town in the way that we have had each other's back through all this, and we've been keeping a watch and an eye, trying to remind the people coming in that, we're just asking them to quarantine. We're wanting to, part of Boyne Rock, when you asked anybody what they like about Boyne Rock, is Boyne Rock's people. And so that's what we're trying to protect when we do all this. And we really came out as a town, a community, actually a county, when we done when the funeral was done for Regina. Not being able to have funerals, but being able to do that, the people that put that together, was really great. It showed what Boyne Rock is and what the community is. It showed that in Boyne Rock, we are a rock and that we are a family. And that's all I had to say tonight. And to thank our heroes. I mean, our heroes have been fire and rescue, police, the town employees out working, they've been great.
Well said, Sue Sweeting.
All right. David Harwood.
I would just like to echo what Mayor Seller said. I'm so proud of the town. I'm so proud of you, Shane, and Nicole and Jennifer, Chief Miller, Chief Graham, Matt. Matt, thank you for coming out last night and unclogging culverts. Everybody has just gone the extra mile, and I've echoed this to Shane. I deal a lot with the planning and zoning and building inspector. So John, Kevin, they have been more than available when I've called up there about my business and work. I mean, you know, it's so interesting to call and get Linda at her house, and it's just seamless. So you guys, everybody has done just a fantastic job, and I'm very proud of all of you, and so proud of our community. So thank you again.
All right, thank you, David. Albert Johnson.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Shane and his staff for putting this on. And of course, we all know that Shane's carrying a huge personal burden, but he's risen beyond that. And most of us have been through those personal burdens, and they're tough. That's when the tough get going. So thank you, Shane, to your staff too. That's it.
All right, thank you, Albert. Virginia Powell.
I think this whole situation has given us personally as a family a perspective on where you'd want to pandemic. And Blowing Rock, I feel safe. I feel proud to be on this council, and well informed by Shane and the county. You know, if like Doug said, you know, this has never happened before, but this is where I'd want to be, and I'm thankful that we're here, and for what you all have done. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Virginia. Alan Mosley.
I'm here. I don't really have any comments. I'm going to send Shane and the mayor and council some updates tomorrow via email, but I don't really have anything specific to discuss.
Okay, thank you, Alan. And now to one of the most important people, Shane Fox.
I'm not sure about that, but I will definitely start by saying I will definitely start by saying thank you to yourself, Mayor, and the council for leadership during this time. It's been a month now since we first officially signed the state of emergency. So it was on 3/14. So we're now 1 month into this situation, and the communication has been tremendous among the mayor and the council during this time. If nothing else, to just provide stability, I think some needed stability in the community, and I appreciate every one of your efforts during this time and supporting the town staff and what we're doing. And so we couldn't do what we've been able to do without your support. So we appreciate that tremendously. When we met on Monday, the 16th, department heads and I, you know, day one of this essentially, and started trying to figure out what the next week would look like. You know, now it's been 4, but the decision that was made at that point to start protecting the folks that needed to be protected within our town staff was instantly made. Individuals were sent home to work day one, and that decision has been absolutely tremendous. That was followed by eventually remote working for most all of our staff. That's administration wise, including park and rec and planning and zoning. The number of individuals that we have working in public safety in our fire and rescue and our police department, and then the number of individuals we have working in public works, still repairing water lines and sewer lines and sanitation, and the folks that are out still working in the midst of all this are truly the ones that need the praise, because they're out there day in and day out, still fighting and still working. And so that's where I say my biggest thank you is to them. From a operational standpoint, the town hasn't missed a beat, and I think that is absolutely amazing. It starts, you know, with getting folks set up. Someone mentioned that Linda's answering her phone at home. She's been doing that since the 16th of March. And that's a big thank you to Kent Graham and his work putting this together and remote access and plugging in phones and people's homes and you name it. The first week to 10 days wasn't chaos. It was organized. It was perfection to the end. And that's a big thank you to Kent for all the work he's put in to getting folks set up. But as I said, the town hasn't missed a beat. Bills are being paid, deposits are being made, everything's being processed. Planning and zoning is still working every day. Park and Rec is still working every day. Of course, our folks that we mentioned a few moments ago are still out and about doing what they need to, public safety, public works. And then administratively, like I said, our checks are still going out, deposits still being made by our finance folks and all of our administrative staff. We work rotating schedules, so we're not all in the office at the same time. There's been a lot of organization that's gone into that, but it's just my hats are off to the town because I don't know of many places that could be given such an obstacle and instantly the willingness to adapt and perform was there from day one. And it has been for the last four weeks now, 1 month that we've been in a part of this. And so my last thing that I will say from a thank you standpoint is just thank you not only to the mayor and the council, but thank you to every single one of our employees and your willingness to be flexible and work through this and still provide the service that we were all put here to do. So I thank you all for that. Update on a few quick things at the end, projects that are still out there that we passed before this began are still in the works. You should start to see some paving taking place in May. There's a little delay there with our Moretz paving because of a previous job they've been working on, but Moretz will still be coming in May. Streets are still going to be paved as planned. Bass Lake project that's 5 or 6 years now in the making, so you'll have to correct me the number of years. It's still there. It's still going to happen. It's been delayed a little bit with some changes that had to take place with some things that are out there, COVID-19 relation. Things are still in the works, and I think that's important for the public to know. We aren't stopping. We're moving forward. We're just doing so a little bit slower because of some things that are outside of our control. But I'll be glad to answer any questions of the council with projects or finances or anything to that nature. We've got all our department heads on the line, so be more than happy to answer any questions or concerns.
This is Albert. Does all that include the update to the park and the playground?
The playground is still so the playground was passed the week before this really took place, and contracts were signed, and that's still being moved forward.
Good.
Sue Sweeting, Shane, thank you for your leadership. I think the employees are following behind your lead, and everybody's done a really good job. Thank you.
Thank you. My last thank you, if there's no more questions or comments, would be to Thomas Steele, who was instrumental in setting this up tonight. Thomas is working behind the scenes right now to put this on YouTube, and just a big thank you to Thomas for stepping in and doing something that he doesn't normally do for us. He does for others, but he doesn't do for us. And so he's now stepped up and has played a big part of this. So thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas. I really appreciate it. This is Charlie Sellers. Does the council have any questions for any department heads or Shane? I know this is unusual. This is the first, and hopefully this won't continue much longer because we all need to be back where the citizens want us to be. And so do we have any additional comments, questions for Shane or the department heads?
This is Sue Sweeting. I have one for Nicole. The increase in the insurance for the North Carolina League of Municipalities, that seemed rather large to me. When was the last time they increased that?
There is typically some form of increase, whether there's several factors that played into that. On the workers' comp side, it has to do with changes in salaries, changes in staffing. That goes according to your payroll as a part of it. The other factor in that is your claims history, and then of course, general increases and fluctuations in just premium pricing. Same way with the general liability side, that goes with your exposure, which I don't think we really had. I don't think there's been any change as far as that side of it goes. I think that was primarily basically to do with the premium increases that are, a part of that sector of insurance.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, this is Charlie. Do we have any other questions or comments?
Charlie, this is Albert. I'd just like to say, I hope the people that say we could have a round 2 of this virus situation are dead wrong.
Well, let's all hope you're right, Albert. And but Shane, any other comments? Anything else that you thought of that you would like to bring up?
The only other thing that I'll say is Tracy Brown and Charles Harden are on this call, and we've spoken a few times, obviously, during this, and I know they've spoken to other high country chambers and TDAs about the potential reopening whenever that takes place, and making sure that that's done. Obviously, the timing is done uniformly, and the message is uniformly. So I appreciate the work they're doing, outside of, from a town staff perspective. I know they've been working hard on, playing a role now that's different than they've ever played from a promotion and marketing and et cetera standpoint. Of course, Charles with the businesses, but I know the two of them have been working very hard with others in the high country, and kind of working on what that message may be, and when that comes out, doing so very uniformly with the rest of the area, and welcoming our folks back. So I appreciate their work. I failed to mention them earlier, so I apologize for that.
Okay, that being said, I do have a question, Shane. This is Charlie. Moving forward, are we planning to have a planning board meeting via email, voicemail, whatever, in the coming month?
So Kevin is on the call, and that is something that we've discussed today. The plan, Kevin, correct me, the scheduled meeting for the planning board was this week, and that is not going to take place. But I do believe there's some things in the work to have potential planning board meeting next week or the following week. Is that correct, Kevin?
That's right. We'd like to shoot either for next Thursday or another day the following week.
Okay.
Will
How
that
will
be
that-
this kind of format?
Yeah. That was my question.
Kevin?
Yeah,
Will
this is
be
Kevin. I
this
think
kind of
something.
format?
Yes, sir, Albert. Something like this, I think.
Well, you'll just have to play it by ear.
Yeah, I like the way this works.
Okay.
This
I mean,
is
the
Shane. Yeah, go ahead.
speckled trout's hanging in the wings, is it not?
I'm sorry, Albert. I didn't hear that.
The speckled trout issue is I guess foremost.
Yes,
If
we
I
are.
may, this is
We're doing
Charlie. If I may speak on that, that particular issue is a CUP, and unless the council feels different, I think that should come, since it is required to have a public hearings and so on.
Yeah.
That is something that needs to be heard when we go back to full session under normal conditions, unless the council feels different. So
I feel like you do, Charlie.
The plan is to go, as we clarified the last time, is go back to planning board and then come to council.
Right, right,
So that's the plan.
yeah.
So if we work through this format, we'll do the same thing.
I don't think that's what Charlie was referring to.
No, I mean,
Maybe it is true.
Kevin, this is Charlie, does this not require a public hearing?
It will when it gets to council, but I think there's enough latitude with what they're allowing at the, from stuff I read with the School of Government, that if it gets pushed out far enough, that you can make a way through by doing it remotely. As long as those that have standing have an opportunity to speak and can be sworn in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the problem is having those people sworn in. That is the problem.
Well, we did it at the Board of Adjustment. We did it. We had 2 people call in remotely, and they were sworn over the phone. Hillary did that, but I this project I don't think is going to be a whole lot of public comment.
Okay.
So.
All right, we'll leave it up to Shane, and I think Shane and Kevin and the planning board to make their recommendations accordingly, and then go from there, I guess. That answer your question, Albert?
I'll give them the con.
Okay. Council,
That being Shane
any
and
further comments?
Shane and the attorney and Kevin.
Okay. All right, council, any further comments?
I'd like to call this a meeting to adjourn.
We have a
If there are no
motion
other
from
comments.
Virginia Powell.
Sue
If there's
Sweeting,
no other
second.
comments, Virginia. Okay, Sue Sweeting is seconded. So we are adjourning this meeting, dated this Tuesday, April 14th, 2020. Thank you all. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. All the department heads, council, citizens, thanks so much. Meeting's adjourned.